Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Carlos, and I'm back with another episode of On the Needle. So, in case you missed last week's episode, I talked about D'Angelo's Voodoo album, which was released in the year 2000. So, keeping it around that same time frame, my first, one of my first albums that I ever owned, thanks to one of my best friends who got me 3 albums for Christmas. One of those is Janet Jackson's Velvet Rope. So you can see it's right here behind me. This is a 2 LP set. So basically it's the whole album, but it's on 2 albums here, 2 vinyls you could say. So when you open it on the inside, it has like basically the stuff that was still on the CD artwork. So it's basically like these little small pictures of her, and then probably can't read this too well, but this says Janet, kind of like a digital or pixelated, I would say, image. So pretty cool on the inserts when you open this. It's not a colored vinyl, but it does have the symbol or the tattoo that's on her lower back, and then it has the song credits on the flip side. So it's like that for each set of these albums. This one is, I feel like this is probably the biggest sleeper record, I feel, of her career. It was released in 1997, so it's been out for about 23 years, and it's one of those albums I feel that really just ages so well. When I first heard the song Got Till It's Gone with Q-Tip, I gotta be honest, I love the beat, but I was like, what is this? I really wasn't feeling the song too much. So I say this album has actually grown on me a lot too. And now that's one of my favorite songs of hers. I love Got Till It's Gone, which of course, for those who may not know, samples Joni Mitchell. And this was by her own words, this was a very dark time in her life, by Janet Jackson's own words, which it's kind of evident here by the album cover because you can't really see her face too well. She's kind of looking down. But I think some of her best songs are included on this album. I Get Lonely. I mean, that alone, to me, just makes this album a classic. I mean, every time I hear the song, I think about her in that video where she had like the pantsuit and she had the white shirt, almost kind of like a men's pantsuit in a way, which I think is a testament to how sexy of a woman she is, because I always feel like if a woman can pull off what's manly or manly clothes and still look sexy, I mean, yeah, you're just sexy in anything. So that's one of my favorite songs of hers as well. Another interesting song on this album is What About. So the album was never released as a single, and as many of you know, Janet Jackson has kept with her production team, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, for the majority of her career. She hasn't really deviated too much from them as far as production goes. But that song, I think, is really special because it starts off kind of light and maybe kind of sounds a little meek and mild a little bit. And then it gets very aggressive and it kind of touches on sexism, it touches on even abuse to some degree, and infidelity in relationships. And that same theme, I don't know if this is what they were going for, but that same theme can be heard, that soft to hard balance of the music, is really similar to TLC's Fan Mail, which was released 2 years later, on the song I'm Good at Being Bad, which was also produced by Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. So, funny thing too, interesting fact about that song, it was formerly titled Bitch Like Me, but I guess they went with a more PC title and decided to call it I'm Good at Being Bad. But yeah, this Janet Jackson album, this Velvet Rope, is just so cool. The interludes, that's one thing I really miss with the late 90s. I feel like that was the end of that era of good interludes. We all know Janet Jackson has some pretty kind of freaky interludes on her albums, which I think were probably first explored on the Janet album, and then she just progressively got more explicit, I'll say, over time. Another song I really like on here is "You." That samples "War," I believe is the name of the group. The beat on there is just sick. I love that song. That's a really cool song. Really good message on that too. This album had a lot of great messages, even though it was sexual. But she also had some big messages here, like on the "You" song. She's talking about um, not stretching yourself too thin, or not basically putting yourself in a position where you're blaming other people for mistakes and decisions that you ultimately made. Like I said, she talks about the kind of domestic violence piece, the "Together Again" song, which was a big hit. I wasn't, to be honest, I wasn't so fond of the original version. Great message. Again, I feel like I know she said she raised or gave some of the proceeds, I believe, to AIDS victims or HIV victims. I'm not exactly sure, but I know that the song had a tie to HIV, which I thought was really, really cool. But the remix was hot. I really wish that the remix would have been on the album, the original album, but it wasn't. But pretty much, it's for the most part, I would say this is really one of those no skip albums. I would say you can pretty much just like listen to this straight through. You got like your sexy tracks, like um, the song "My Need," and then you have like the party tracks, like "Go Deep," which is a pretty cool video, like this house party kind of spring break summer vibe is kind of what I felt in that video. And just so many different elements, I think, on this album. It's weird. It had a concept, but at the same time, I feel like she has so many different facets of herself that she brought to this album. So again, I think it's definitely a classic of hers. So let me know what you think and your thoughts on Janet Jackson's Velvet Rope. And I will see y'all next Friday. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe.